Hey guys, so today we're going to be going over how to skin, flesh, and board an otter. I'm probably going to do 3 videos here, but the first one we're going to focus on just the skinning, that sort of thing. So, a couple of tools you're going to need. Tail puller for stripping the tailbone off. We're going to use a spray bottle here, just on the mist setting, and that way we can keep this hide dampened down. And the reason that we're doing this is to prevent the fur from singeing. I've always been taught to do this. I've heard from a few other people that they do this with their otter, that sort of thing. And essentially all the singeing is the tips of these hairs curling back on themselves. So it really devalues your hide and that sort of thing. So try not to handle your otter furs when they're completely dry, just to reduce that. So the other thing you're going to need is 1 or 2 good skinning knives, and I generally use a hammer with a rounded edge on it there so it can't poke any holes in the hides. So we'll get right into it. Your first cut is going to be the money cut, same as skunks. And a few other things, fisher, that sort of stuff. So you're going from heel to heel on the leg, straight across. On some of the other species there's a line of fur you can follow down this edge, but not really on the otter. It's all the same fur. And then go around your ankles. And then same with here, you can go around. Make sure you don't cut that tendon off that's in there, because you'll be hanging it up by the back feet here in the next spot. So your next cut is going to be down the center of the tail. I cut usually from 2/3 down kind of thing, where it starts to really get narrow. Go right to the center of the tail, go through the hide, and just slice along the top of the bone all the way to the middle of the vent. And then you're just going to take your knife, go on the surface, and cut through to your first slice, and same thing the other way. Just be careful, try not to cut the glands down in there. I have a market for mine, so I will be selling them, but they're no good if they're punctured. They make an oily mess if you hit them otherwise. So now, just take your knife, you'll open this up gently, just like every other species we've been doing this way. Once you can get around and you can get your hands on it, you can pull. You're going to do that to the other side as well. It didn't quite go down far enough there. And if you want, at this stage you can also cut just the front out of the otter. You can see this one's a male. I save the baculums as well and sell them. So we'll just remove that like so. I'll clean that up later, but that's your penis bone from the otter. And yeah, just getting this down away from the front here before we hang it up by the back feet. Oh, I did cut that tendon, didn't I? Oh, no, it is. It's right there. I have to use a different gambrel, sorry. My apologies, I should have started on the smaller gambrel. It's closer together, so it's easier to get up on. The other one's for my coyotes and that sort of thing. But yeah, so we'll pull down both sides. If you didn't cut enough here, you can slice through and down around the sides of the tail. And you're going to follow that bone down. You can leave lots of fat on at this point. You're going to flesh it out anyway. And then you can go a little bit farther with this. Leave lots of fat on, that way you're not going to be worried about cutting holes in the hide at all. And once you can get your fingers down through, down around that 2/3 of the tail, just pull away from each other, or the hide away from the tail. It goes down to there. Trim to keep the fat close to the bone. Put your tail stripper in. And you pull it the rest of the way out. Now at this point, I usually split the tail on the otters because I tend to forget when I'm fleshing. Then I have to put my fleshing knife down and go back to grab my skinning knife. But right to the tail, we want to skin that out. And then finish up here really quick. And again, leaving lots of fat on it. You're not gonna, don't worry about getting all that off. You're gonna be fleshing this thing in 5 minutes anyway. So once you're down the back a little, you can pull and see how far it'll go. And you want it to go without pulling the belly meat at all, because otters will tear that really quick. Now if I was going to keep pulling this by hand, I'd do the same thing. Just wrap this up and pull, and I go all the way around, then skin with a knife, keep repeating. But I have a nice skinning machine here, so it'd be rude not to use it. Off. Don't like shutting it down when it started up, but okay. And it catches on the ribs lots of times, the skinning machine, so you just have to watch, pull it over, and go back up again. And once it gets to the shoulders, it gets tight. Release the pressure off of it and just free up some of this extra slack up here. Again, stay away from the hide. You don't want to cut holes in it. Just cut nice up above the leather. So the front's always a lot harder, so I don't like to do it. This is where the hammer comes into play. So basically, you're going to be punching through in the armpits, and on the front side, you'll bring the hide down where you can get it through as well. If you got lots of tough stuff in there, you can always give it a slice like that. So I'm almost to that front wrist there. Slice around it. That's what you have left on there. So these legs will be long enough there. You could leave them slightly longer. You could have went maybe another ½ inch or so, but that's a good length there. It's not too long, it's not too short. There we go. Same thing, stick the handle through. Some people use their steel for sharpening their knives, but when you put through and you pull, if these are getting old or weak or you have a defective one, this handle will actually snap and the sharp end of the steel will end up in your hand that you're holding onto the handle with. So there's been lots of hand injuries that way. I don't recommend using a steel, especially for something like an otter or a wolf, something that's really hard to pull on. We use them in speed skinning coyote competitions just because it's quick and easy, but when you're doing a couple hundred a year, I really wouldn't recommend using your steel for that. Use a hammer handle, something heavier, or a pipe if you have, that sort of thing. So now we've got the legs freed up. I'm going to start working on the head here. We're pretty much at it already. We're almost to the ears. I could pull with the winch a little bit farther down if I wanted, but again, not worried about leaving meat on there. So cutting high up above that hide line. You can kind of see the edge of the hide's right there, so I'm a good inch above it. If you can put pressure on it, even better. And the throat's always the riskier spot to slice. It's harder to see where the edge of the hide is lots of times. So keep paper towel on hand. These two veins here, particularly in I find mink and otter, bleed a lot. So if you can have a piece of paper towel sitting on your bench ready to go, it'll save the mess of it running down. So there's the first ear I just sliced through on the side there. And go around one more time. There's the second ear. And then down to the jaw again. So pinch right basically where the ear is and slice down the side of the skull. And I'll take you to your ears, or to your eyes, sorry. And then try and open up your cheeks. Use my other knife. So there we go. We got a cheek open there, and I can stick my finger in here and actually use it as a little handle. And again, slicing down. I'm keeping my knife pretty well parallel with the skull when I'm going down here. kind of going like that along the hide and the bone. That way I'm not losing the edge off my knife. We're just going to keep going back and forth, keeping that down, and then at this point you can kind of put your fingers through the lower jaw and just pop that hide right off. You don't need that bottom lip. It'll leave that little bit of fur on the chin. You don't need it. And then if you're also selling skulls, if you leave the fur there, it helps the people you're selling the skulls to get a good ID on them if you don't label them properly. But again, just work down around that nose. If you're kind of starting to see the nose here, turn your knife 90 degrees and cut straight down, and then it frees up. So there's what you're left with. It's a nice male hide, male otter. So good amount of fat on it, nice heavy hide. We're gonna switch over to how to flesh them out. Will be my next video, so I'm gonna get that done. I'm also gonna pull the skull off here, and maybe I'll do a quick how-to for removing the glands for any of your lure makers and that sort of thing, or if you want to use them for your own lures. So, okay, thanks for watching.